Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chair of the Berlin Global Dialogue, Lars-Hendrik Röller, in conversation with Belinda Balluku, the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Albania.
Okay, Deputy Prime Minister, thank you, and thank you for skipping lunch. Probably you have a little bit of time before or after to eat lunch. First of all, I should send you the regards of Prime Minister Edi Rama, who has a medical issue and his doctor did not allow him to travel. Nothing serious, but he's in a very difficult situation. He texted me this morning, even sent a picture, which I will not show you, of him. But he will be fine. Nothing wrong with him, but he's just unable to currently be mobile. And he's, of course, we miss him dearly. He was here last year. He's a great person, and we wish him well. But we're very lucky. And Deputy Prime Minister Belinda Balluku, who is somebody we've been working with, or I've been working with as well. She's anyways here. And actually, you're going to meet somebody, and we only have a short time, who is probably at least almost as interesting as Edi. She's a real power woman, if I may say so. In Albania, she's been Deputy Prime Minister for many years. She runs the cabinet. She runs the government, which was 75% women. I think it's getting better.
We
it's
have balance
better for the men.
60% women.
And you have your delegation. There's the finance minister here, tourism minister here. So she's the one who runs the country. I mean, with Edi, of course. Edi is Edi. Edi Rama, Prime Minister, is of course a great leader. But Belinda, Deputy Prime Minister, is somebody who is really very, very important. So I wrote down some questions, sort of 5 areas to go into, and then I think we will have time if you want to ask questions, or the students I think are there as well, and we can go into that. So let's welcome her. Thank you for the lunch talk. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, first question is a little bit about Albania, and full transparency, if I've also been advising her on Albania and the Prime Minister, which has really done a remarkable thing. It's a small country, you know, it's a beautiful country, and it's done economically very, very well. Tourism, I think, in terms of percentage increases, is one of the best locations in the world, and the question really for that country is how do you evolve forward and how do you position yourself in Europe? So I think it's also had this historical, incredible history, which probably most of you know. It's been, you know, dire communist until 1990. And then it's gone through a transformation, building on the Albanian people, who, as you said earlier this morning, are really the important part of the country. How do you sort of see this development of Albania, if I may ask you, and how do you see the future of Albania, and is sort of this economic success and the political success, which you've also had, is that something also other countries can learn from?
So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this forum. And as you said, this was a last moment notice to be here, and this is an honor for me, of course. And I want to thank you for all the contribution that you are giving us by collaborating in a very fruitful field. In meantime, speaking for Albania, we have been lucky to have a prime minister like Edi Rama, which is a promoter not only of our country, but even a promoter of the region of Western Balkans. As you know very well, all of us, so all the 6 countries are coming from a difficult past, very different from each other, with some conflicts running in that region from long time now. But what is most important, our Prime Minister have played a very important role on being mediator on a very fragmented region and even world right now. So as we spoke today in one of the panels regarding the small states, the size doesn't matter anymore. So if a small state is defined from the number of population or from the squares meters of the landscape, now in the time of digitalization, the size doesn't matter anymore. And Albania, it's a live example of this. By coming from a very harsh past, by spending more than half century on communist system, that I am always saying that our communist system, the Albanian communist system, it's nothing to compare with the rest of communist bloc, because we have been in that cage, totally isolated for 48 years. And then all the period of transition have been almost the same long, so around 32 years. And you should keep into consideration that my country have lost around 1 century on going out of this harsh past. Now we have understand that by using our capabilities as people that we love freedom, we love to be part of Europe, we want to show to the international stage that we have values to share with other states. Now Albania is living in a new era. For sure it's not easy. Times are challenging. We are passing from a challenge to another, as was the pandemic, as was the energy crisis due to the aggression of Russia in Ukraine, or different other challenges that we are facing every day. But by having sustainable governance, I should say, by having a vision, which is very important for a country, for a government, by having an optimistic approach on the way how we should perform in the future. And this is very important. But by being optimistic, it's the way how we affect our country, how we affect our policies that we are applying right now. We are sure that Albania will have a very important position, not only in the region, but even in Europe.
I will ask you about EU in a second, but it's a quite remarkable transformation process in a relatively short period of time, and it's all been peaceful. I mean, you have regional conflicts. We have the Prime Minister, the President of Kosovo here this afternoon. But let me ask you something about, so it's a remarkable journey, and I wish you all the best. I wanted to ask you about this energy and infrastructure. Since you're Minister of Energy and Infra, that's a big part of Albanian development and growth model. There's actually something about this connectivity also with the rest of Europe. Maybe you can say a few words on that. There's something called the BGD process, which actually my former boss started. I think they're meeting today, the foreign ministers in Berlin as well. So the idea is to actually connect the Balkans, which is geopolitically enormously important region for Europe. Also, if you think about the other conflicts in Europe. But through this connectivity and the Balkan process, is that going well?
So I will start from tourism. During pandemic, Albania, by being a small state, have done and have applied a very shrewd policy regarding the COVID, regarding the measures, regarding the way of coming back in the normality, and the results have been positive. So in the summer 2020, when the rest of the world was closed due to a very transparent but very aggressive policy, we start a soft opening of the country by giving the possibility to other visitors from the neighbors country, but even from Italy and from France and different European countries to visit Albania. So that was the starting point of success for our economy and to build a new sector, which is the tourism. We have done a lot of efforts in the past. We have applied flat taxation of 6% for all the investment on tourism. We have been very active on international stage to promote our country, but that was the turning point. So the summer during pandemic. And from that moment there, the numbers are very optimistic. Just to make you understand, we are hosting more than 10 million of visitors during the last year in 2023, and I believe that the numbers will be much more higher in the end of 2024. And Albania have been rated in all the reports of Eurocontrol as the country with the biggest growth regarding the flights, arrival and departures in the country, or even the overflights due to the corridors that are active in our FAR. And by having this new successful sector, of course, we should say that the two pillars that we have built from a long time now, due to a very detailed local strategy, it's energy and infrastructure. Government of Albania is very proud regarding the achievement that we have in the energy sector. First of all, because we are producing 100% renewable energy, and not only from hydro plants.
That's 100% renewable energy
produced in the country, which it's equal of covering 75% of the national demand. And of course, we are exporter of this renewable energy. To the other hand, from 2019 till now, we have worked very hard on diversification of the production. So we are not anymore basing everything on the hydro plants, but from 3 years now, we are entitled of 4 auctions that we have conducted with the help of EBRD and other European institutions, that from those auctions we have achieved record prices of the megawatt. So I just want to refer one of them, that due to the cooperation with French Voltalia, we achieved 140 megawatt PV park just for 24.89 euro per megawatt, which is the record for the Europe too. In energy matters, we aim that by 2030, Albania should be a net exporter and a role player in not only in the region of Western Balkans, but even in the East Europe regarding the production of renewable energy and the exportation of this good. Regarding infrastructure, have been very challenging for us because Albania have been excluded from all the connected corridors, pan-European corridors, due to that communist regime. And we have achieved just 1 year ago to convince European Union and the Secretariat of Transport to include Albania to 2 of the most important corridors, which is the Blue Corridor connecting Croatia, Montenegro, Albania, and Greece, and the 8th corridor, which connect Italy, Albania, North Macedonia, and Bulgaria. And the 8th corridor, for sure, it's not just the transportation corridor, but it's a security corridor. And we believe that we are playing a very important role. Saying this, we are in a very important moment, trying to connect with the rest of the world through the new airports that we are building in our country, a new port that will serve not only Albania, but even Kosovo and North Macedonia, because that new port is designed from Royal Haskoning, one of the biggest Dutch company operating in maritime sector. And in Pristina and in Skopje, we will have 2 dry ports connected with the port of Durrës. And NATO is working with us right now to have a new base and to make Albania one of the most important geopolitical point of security in the region. I can speak about the energy and infrastructure all day long, but I know that we are short in time.
No, we're almost running out. Want to be on time and maybe also get a question from the students. So I have 2 more questions. One is sort of looking outside of Albania. The Draghi report, as we've been discussed today already several times, has been criticized by some countries that it's looking at old Europe and not at new Europe. And you're a country who wants to be part of Europe, and you know this much better than I do. You're going all these chapters and these negotiations and submitting yourself to EU, let me be blunt, regulation and bureaucracy. Sometimes actually being outside and being flexible than being inside, and this is of course the trade-off you're having, but I know you're very pro-European and you said you want to be part of Europe. But given this Draghi report, and how Europe is going, you know, you are still convinced your place is in Europe, I guess. And how do you look at the Draghi report, actually, from outside Europe?
So the Draghi report is very transparent and saying the truth, but we are not the right stakeholders to be asked about this. We are there very convinced to sacrifice some of our freedoms just to be part of Europe. So we are not the case of Swiss or Norway that they have decided not to be part of Europe. Albanians are, I will say, the fan club of Europe. They always have been hopeful to be part of that great union, without keeping into consideration the bureaucracies, the limitation, and everything else that will be produced with that status. For us, it's a very important moment. Tomorrow, the Committee of the Integration will be held in Tirana just to accept the new phase of the negotiation. By 15th of October, we will sit in the table of Brussels to open the first chapter regarding law and order. And we are very excited for this new path because, first of all, we have done our best. Our team, complete from 1,200 experts of Albanian administration, had a very good performance, said this from all the stakeholders in European Union during the screening process. And now we will be seated in that table to open the first chapter of negotiation, and for the Albanians, this is a milestone on our history. So Draghi reports, it's identifying the right problems that
scares us, but
to tell the truth, we are aware of, because I'm always saying that the European Union is asking from us to do all our homeworks. To the other hand, we need more support from the way how we are passing through a very bureaucratic path, even for a very simple project, as applying for a railway a project. But to the other hand, as I said, we are prepared for this because Albania wants to be part of European Union.
I think that's good news, and I think it's. I commend you for that position. Final question I would have. Now, how to put this with the audience here? You sort of had this past with communism, both I think Russian influence actually. I stay in the guest house. There's Lenin and Stalin still out there in the garden. I mean, the statues of them on the garden, and also the Chinese influence. And you sort of learned your lessons from all of that. And I think, in a way, no. And you moved the country in a very pro-Western. I mean, there's some obviously people from all around the world in the audience. So your position right now is firmly in Europe and not so much with China and Russia, to put it bluntly.
So we have been always clear in our position. We have chosen to be a member of NATO from April 2009. Albania have been always vocal on supporting the policies of NATO and European Union, and this is a clean path for us. We have signed an economical agreement on October 2020 with Department of State. Albania, it's a Chinese free investment, and for sure our position regarding Russia and the aggression towards Ukraine have been public, and we never had back thoughts on our
and the Prime Minister was very clear in New York just last week in his speech in front of the UN on Ukrainian issue, and it's remarkable to sign this agreement. China free, you said, right? This is in the agreement.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting thing. But anyways, I think this is a remarkable story. I think Albania is a really interesting country from many perspectives, and I hope it continues to go well. Now we have time for one or two questions. I don't know if the young voices have been able to switch from Edi Rama to Belinda Balluku, but please go ahead and maybe ask the same question if you have one. Go ahead, yes. We have time for one question. Thank you. And maybe you say where you're from and which university, that'd be great.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Alusa Grace from Strathmore University in Kenya. A question we had for you from the young voices was, how is Albania currently strategically positioning itself for foreign investment, and what challenges are you facing in the same?
Thank you very much. Regarding the foreign investment, Albania is an open country for foreign investment. What we have done in the last 5 or 6 years, it's to reinforce the rule of law and to create transparency for all the foreign investors that want and have decided to invest in our country. So the perception for Albania have been bad for a long time due to all the bad promotion, starting from Hollywood with different movies and Albanian mafia and things like this. But the reality and perception are totally two different things. We have understood from the beginning that only by being open to foreign investors, only by giving them the possibility to invest through a transparent process, through auctions, through international bids, the best promoters can be the own investors. And this is a success story. By giving this possibility to foreign companies, as our Stadtkraft, the Norwegian Statkraft, Voltalia, the French Voltalia, other companies like Royal Haskoning and many other companies, European, from US or even from Middle East, we have changed the perception. And by changing the perception, now the reality it's totally different that we have faced 10 years ago.
Okay, great. Deputy Prime Minister Belinda Balluku, let me thank you again and thank you for jumping in on such short notice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There's a little bit of lunch left and then we have the next sessions. Thank you very much.